Welcome to another episode of Mutual Growth, a podcast by Penn Community Bank. I'm your host, Aaron Clark. After the show is over, be sure to check out the show notes and links to resources at penncommunitybank.com/podcast.
All right, Rick Cimakasky, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Aaron. It's always a pleasure to sit and talk with you and try to share some of my wisdom.
Yeah, we certainly need that wisdom now more than ever. Every time we talk, the kind of changing face of fraud and data security is evident. So it's always a good time to sit down and kind of refresh folks on some of the challenges that we're facing as a bank, but also that consumers or businesses are seeing and how they can kind of protect their data. So we'll dive in with that. What are some of the biggest threats that we're seeing right now when it comes to personal data security, online presence, kind of all those new things that people are, having their data more places? What are you seeing from your end?
Well, Aaron, as I had mentioned in the past, old-fashioned check fraud, writing bad checks, stealing checks out of the mail and altering them and trying to cash them was quite prevalent. But fraud was quite prevalent last year, but fraud in general, since 2020, all banks across the nation, all financial institutions across the United States has seen a tremendous increase in fraud attempts and losses that result from these attempts. Scammers have, moved into bank fraud because there's only so many resources that can chase down these crimes. Criminal enterprises, organized crime have moved into bank fraud as well because it is so profitable. But and accordingly, banks have done much to combat it. We deploy all sorts of analytics to monitor accounts, by the minute. We have we educate our team on ways that they can detect fraud schemes or pick out scammers that are trying to take advantage of our customers. And we even push stuff out to our customers to educate them on the most timely scams and frauds that are going on through social media and email. But here's what it's coming down to, Aaron, is we've done much, but we need the consumers, we need the customers to fight just as hard as we are at protecting their accounts, their identity, and all these digital payment platforms that are out there today. We need the consumer to be skeptical of all these schemes. We need the consumer to do everything they can to protect their identity, because look, at the biggest fraud we are seeing right now starts off with a savvy or witty fraudster calling or sending a text message or an email to a customer, or maybe a creative pop-up ad sent to their computer. It all starts with that, and then it slowly moves its way into a very advanced social engineering scheme that ends up with the consumer giving up their very sensitive and personal data to these scammers that they quickly take advantage of. And once they're a victim of this identity fraud, they're always going to be a victim of this identity fraud. There's certain things they can do to protect themselves, but if they know enough to call out these schemes right when they start, a lot can be saved.
Well, so that's a good transition. What would you tell people who go, sounds good, Rick, I'm going to step up, and play my part in keeping my, online presence or my personal data or my financial information safe, what are those key foundational steps that they need to be taking right now?
As hard as it may seem, folks have really got to be careful about oversharing on social media. All they need to know are a few things about you, your family, your vacation patterns, your hobbies, where you reside. That, along with some information they buy about you on these encrypted websites or the dark web, really allow these scammers to move from point A to point B. So don't overshare on social media. Create really strong passwords. And I was in a big habit of trying to keep my passwords as simple as possible because we've got so darn many. But now I've stepped beyond that, and my passwords are very complex. You make sure your Wi-Fi is secure. The Wi-Fi at your home, make sure it's secure. Use VPNs. Be careful of links or attachments. If you get a text message from a number that appears to be a number like your local regional bank or your investment firm, be skeptical. Do not click on text message links or email links. If your bank sends you a text message, call the bank at the number because these scammers are spoofing phone numbers and making it appear as though they're calling you from your bank or your financial institution. Consider extra protection, antivirus software for your devices. Maybe you look at credit monitoring service, or maybe some of this encrypted or dark web type monitoring. Don't provide remote access to anyone for your devices. If someone wants to remote into your computer or your cell phone, just disconnect that conversation and stop. Once they're in there, they've got access to whatever you have on your phone and your laptop. And our phones are like mini laptops. Think of all the sensitive and valuable information you have on your cell phone, Aaron. I'm the same way. Very, 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 very valuable information that we do not want to give away. And monitor your accounts regularly. I keep telling folks to do it daily. I pull up my accounts daily. I probably spend less than 25 seconds looking at it. And I'm starting to realize that daily might be too much for most. But if you do it every other day, or maybe every 3 days, eventually you can work your way into just pulling up your accounts, take a quick look at them every day. But less than 20% of Americans with checking accounts, demand deposit accounts, check their accounts every day. And it's more likely they're checking it once a month or even less. But if you can detect any potential fraud quickly, any losses will be prevented, and your bank can help you protect your identity further.
Whether it's online shopping or maybe transferring funds using things like Venmo or Cash App, how can vulnerabilities in these commonly used apps or websites kind of open up financial information to hackers? Is there anything that our customers need to be aware about, just kind of their online activity through those portals?
Any sensitive information that you send via your devices are potentially vulnerable. Credit card information or other private data can be hijacked by scammers. That's why, as I was just saying, you've got to check and double check your accounts and your credit pretty routinely, because look at it, I think we're all at some point in our lives going to be vulnerable to identity theft. It's not a matter of if, but when. And we just have to be careful and be prepared for it. But you can do simple things that will protect you as best as possible and postpone that identity theft for as long as possible. Like simple things like making sure your security software is up to date on your devices, your cell phones, your laptop computer, your desktop. Install any virus software is a very, very important step to take. Disable connections when you're not using them. Don't let your desktop on and running or your laptop on and running when you're away from home and not using it. Shut it down. Have strong personal identification numbers on your cell phones or passcodes. Only use entrusted apps that your bank either approves or authorizes, or ones that have been vetted, have really good ratings. And like I said earlier, keep all your software up to date on your phones. And that's about the best thing that I could recommend folks to do.
Gotcha.
Other than doing things like deleting suspicious emails and not clicking on text messages that you didn't expect. Banks are doing things like using multi-factor authentication for access to your accounts. We entrust that you're doing everything you can to protect your passwords, but these scammers are so good and they are so adept at this social engineering that all they need is a little bit of information to really make a bad situation worse.
So it sounds like, as you said, it's not a matter of if, but when, but there's certain things you can do. So it sounds like this is a focus, should be a focus for everyone, regardless of age, regardless of where they're at financially. But are there certain groups, whether it's seniors or even some of our youngest account holders, is anyone maybe more susceptible to some of these scams than others? And what can they do to pay extra attention?
The propensity, the largest age group that sees, or maybe a better way to put it is reports fraudulent activity, are between the ages of, say, 18 and 24 or 25 years old. They report the most fraudulent activity. The greatest losses that result from fraudulent activity tend to come from folks 60 and above. I guess it makes sense. They've got more money than the 18 to 24-year-olds. But folks above 60 don't report it as much. Maybe it's an issue of pride. Maybe they're not willing to report it. Maybe they don't know about the resources there are to report this sort of activity and the counseling they can receive after they become a victim of identity theft or fraud. But the largest volume of activity exhibited across the nation for fraudulent activity through financial institutions are between the ages of, like I said, approximately 18 to 25 years old.
All right, so we'll buckle up. What do we do when the worst of the worst happens? You've clicked on the link, you've engaged with a scammer. What should someone do if they suspect they are either in the middle of a fraud attempt, or they suspect after the fact that probably wasn't good and their financial information might be compromised? What should those folks do?
Well, if you're in the middle of it, I always tell folks it's never too late to just stop. Stop the conversation, hang up the phone, shut your computer off, just stop. Count to 5, about all it takes to realize what just happened, and then start contacting your financial institutions. Call your bank, call your credit card company. Let them know about what just happened. The analysts in these companies have seen so much over the past 3 or 4 years, and they're prepared for just about every scheme that's out there right now. They'll help walk you through what happened. They'll help protect your accounts immediately, and they'll prepare you and your accounts to protect them in the future. Contact the credit bureaus, the Equifaxes, the TransUnions, the Experians. Contact them and put a fraud alert on the credit reports. Put a freeze on your credit. You can freeze your credit. Sign up for a credit monitoring service. Some banks offer that sort of thing for free. There's some companies out there that are offering those services for a fee. Tighten the security up on your bank accounts and your credit accounts. Set up alerts. Most banks have the ability to set up alerts on your online banking or on your debit cards, so that if your debit card is used for anything above $500, you'll immediately receive alerts that someone's using your debit card. Same with your online banking. Set up those alerts. The bank team members will help walk you through that. Review your credit reports. From what I understand now, the Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, they're now allowing consumers to pull weekly online credit reports. So you can go every week and check your credit report. Make sure that there's no sketchy transactions on there that you should be concerned about. Daily, at best, but if not, at least 2 or 3 times a week, scan your credit card statements, scan your online bank activity. I can pull my credit card account online within a couple of seconds. The same with my bank. Just take a quick look at it and be done. You can file reports with the local police department, the Federal Trade Commission of this happening. It's good to compile as much of this information with law enforcement as possible in case they can tie it to an organization that's taking advantage of other folks in your area. And then I've had a couple of our customers who actually had identity theft insurance. And when they were taken advantage of, they filed a claim with their identity theft insurance coverage. So that's out there too. So there's a lot of things you can do, but the most important thing is we just have to be proactive, and we just have to be very skeptical of phone calls that we didn't expect from our banks, emails, text messages that we did not expect from our banks. We need to be very, very skeptical of those sorts of transactions. And what's the old saying? If it seems too good, it probably is. Very, very true here.
So last question for folks. They understand they're going to take action, but they want to stay up to date. What is the best way for individuals to continue to educate themselves on both protecting their data, but also spotting some maybe new or rising scam trends?
I tell all my friends, I tell my family, the Federal Trade Commission is an awesome resource for ongoing, new, hot scams that are going on. They will push emails out, weekly about what's going on in the United States of America when it comes to frauds and scams. I get those 2 to 3 times a week. It's an awesome resource for me to see those and read them and see if it coincides with what me and my department are seeing. But also it is really a great resource for young and old alike, just to get these alerts and see what's going on. But I research. I love love how much is on YouTube, locations like YouTube for this stuff. All you got to do is go into, any of these social media sites and, put the word scammer in there, and you'll see lots of video and all kinds of posts about people that were victims and the scams that they were taken advantage of. And it's a really good resource of research. And then, of course, all the other things that I already spoke about to protect yourself and have these strong passwords and, update your software and be skeptical. If it sounds too good, it probably is. Verify that you're speaking with the bank and not some scammer. And don't rush. All of these scams are really designed to make you make quick decisions so that you don't have that 5 seconds to sit back and think about it and realize it's a scam.
Well, Rick, we appreciate you taking some time to get us up to speed on what unfortunately is out there, but fortunately what folks can do to be aware of it and head it off, or at least know how to respond if they think they're in a situation where their personal or financial data might be at risk. So thank you for joining us again. We look forward to chatting soon.
Great. Thank you, Aaron. Take care.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Mutual Growth, a podcast by Penn Community Bank. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating. And as always, keep up with the latest from Penn Community Bank by following us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. For more information about this podcast, links to past episodes, or to learn more about Community First Banking, just visit penncommunitybank.com/podcast.
Mutual Growth is the official podcast of Penn Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. It is produced for the benefit of current and prospective customers and partner organizations. This program is provided solely for educational and entertainment purposes. The information contained herein is based on sources believed to be reliable, but is not represented to be complete, and its accuracy is not guaranteed. The opinions, views, and estimates expressed are those of the presenters at the date of production and are subject to change without notice. Please email marketing@penncommunitybank.com regarding booking or repurposing any part of this podcast.